we always start with a guest, and today it's Cristian from Qurator. So we got connected more than 10 years ago when he was running digital marketing globally for DHL, and I was running a company called Vendemore. We were the first account-based marketing company in the world. And so we kind of stayed in touch, and then a few rotations later, we had the meeting, physical meeting for the first time, and we basically said we need to do something together. And we started looking at actually selling carbon credits, but quickly realized that that's a Red Sea. When we didn't go into another problem that I think you all can recognize. So the big companies right now are facing, and some of us have experienced that. So when IT and internet was new, like 95, 2000, the buyers were not savvy at all. They're buying IT solutions and they did not know what to do. And that gave birth to companies like Gartner, Forrester, IDC, etc. And later on came the online versions of that, like G2, Capterra, TrustRadius, etc. So Cristian and I were kind of talking about the various problems when it comes to scaling sustainability tech. And of course, Megadeals is all into that. But another way to do it is to actually create a company like Qurator, which is simplify the TripAdvisor of sustainability. So a technology scouting and comparison site for sustainability tech, and comparison to IT is pretty clear. IT had the same problem. It doesn't have that anymore. It's a very mature market, but it was completely immature. And that led to basically Megadeals together with Cristian and a few others creating Qurator, which you should check out, Qurator with a Q, Qurator.com. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Qurator.com, the way we see it as the world's first B2B decarbonization solution scouting platform. As Christopher already mentioned, oversimplifying it, it's like kind of a TripAdvisor, but for business-to-business decarbonization. And the purpose is really making the discovering and shortlisting of decarbonization vendors easy for buyers. And the buyers, can be large corporations, but also smaller and smaller companies obviously feel the need to decarbonize. Now, Christopher already mentioned, so together with Jonas also from Megadeals, we came up with the idea, and then we were very lucky to be able to attract a couple of other co-founders. Actually, two of my former colleagues from World Economic Forum. Joanna, she's a PhD in chemistry, and for the last 6 years, she has been running net zero and industrial decarbonization for World Economic Forum. Oliver is an expert in machine learning, AI, and Victoria, she's a Singaporean expert guru in marketing. Christopher was already mentioning, all large organizations have kind of a public net zero commitment by 2050, right? And they are working towards that goal. It might sound like, it's a long time to go until there, but of course they know that they have to make a lot of progress yearly, and they try to capture that in their annual sustainability report, while hopefully still increasing the business, right? So that's the challenge. And of course, they're operating in a very challenging environment. They have to hit those targets in sustainability, but discovering and benchmarking the right technology vendors that can help them on that journey, it's extremely complex and difficult nowadays. The market is booming with new technologies, new players, so it's very hard to keep track. And then, even when you discover relevant companies, they don't have the data attached to it, like technology readiness level, scaling capabilities, CO2 emissions potential. Of course, usually they're also completely missing valid third-party reviews, trustworthy, that they can trust. So it's people that already have a valid opinion. And if you add on top of this, doing this manually, it's not how you want to do business in 2024 while you're trying to hit your sustainability targets.
We looked with another company from the Netherlands. We looked at how much time it takes for someone like LVMH to replace their unsustainable materials with sustainable ones, and the simulation led to several hundred employees going all in on finding and evaluating new materials and the related vendors.
Hundreds of people.
Several hundred, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the size of the complexity. And typically those are too young, too inexperienced, so they're kind of a blind leading a deaf. It's a bit of, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you're describing on this slide also, right? I mean, the problem is there, and when you ask the companies, how do you find today your decarbonization partners and vendors, they go to trade fairs, they Google, they ask their interns to, do research, they maybe find something in some magazines. So Qurator is supposed to be an additional channel to this, which is of course data-driven, AI-driven. We're building this trust layer on top with verified customer reviews. Of course, everything gets custom-made for decarbonization, right? Technology readiness level, CO2 equivalent impact, scope 1 to 3. We really try to push vendors and buyers to be transparent about the CO2 equivalent numbers because they have them, right? And it's just a matter of making them public. And of course, I mean, Qurator's interface, it's a marketplace, and we as humans, we love marketplaces from our day-to-day life and everything we do. It's worth mentioning that if you go on Qurator.com today, you're going to find 1,500 public profiles. But actually, we have a database already of 400,000 sustainability companies, and this is the database that we're leveraging for the scouting services that we're selling to large corporations today. And of course, in time, we keep on taking more and more batches from this database of almost 500,000 companies and making them publicly available. Now, in terms of what we're already offering today for vendors, there's a mix of visibility and credibility services and packages. Today, for today's meeting, I'll choose to focus on this credibility package, which gets a lot of interest nowadays. Why is this credibility something interesting for many startups and scale-ups? Is because as companies are coming up with new technologies, as they invest in their capacity to scale up, to ramp up, of course they have challenges because the brands are not well established. Even the executives, or maybe the people who came up with technologies, they're not necessarily yet positioned as top experts in their field. And more than that, of course, having an in-house marketing team, it's usually something that it's not a huge team, and they have restrictions in terms of time. So that's where the credibility package that we were offering, which nowadays, by the way, it's heavily discounted. So if you find this relevant for your companies or for other people in your networks, feel free to.
It's in my opinion, far below cost level.
Well, we need to make it attractive at this early stage. So it starts with one C-level interview, which can be a written article, but can also be upgraded to a video, concept video. And then we as Qurator team, we take the work to capture 5 in-depth customer or partner reviews. Basically, we talk to the people, why do you love doing business with this company? Why have you chosen them over their competitors? So it's also credible as a third party that it's not an artificially written marketing case study. The other cool thing here is that many startups, they're working already with large corporations, but there's no way they're going to get the approval to use their logo on their website. So what we can do as a compromise situation is to still get something out of that. We talk to those corporations, but we publish those reviews on Qurator platform anonymous, while we're still certifying, vetting, yes, we spoke to a real corporation, we spoke to a real executive, and we can certify that.
We can say it's one of the largest pulp and paper companies in the world, blah, 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 but you can't, we assure it's them, but we can't tell you who they are.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's something that obviously cannot be done alone by a startup or a scale-up. Moreover, this always comes with free bonus packages, such as an advanced profile on Qurator. We help you, stand out in your space, especially if it's a very crowded market. Lots of reasons to have a solid profile on Qurator. And with that, the last thing is that, the vision for us, despite, what we're doing already nowadays in our early beginning, of matchmaking, this facilitating this B2B decarbonization matchmaking, but really the vision is to build Qurator as the most relevant open platform for B2B decarbonization solutions. And here it's hardware, software, services, and ultimately our goal is to make this intelligence available to organizations of all sizes. I mean, this is how we see our purpose, really, to make those insights, to make this matchmaking available to companies of all sizes.
And for maybe it's not disclosable, but one of the biggest brands in the world, they were looking at the certain categories within sustainability, and we gave them more than double the amount of vendors that qualified that they didn't even know existed.
Because if you compare to manual, doing things. Plus that, we all know that large corporations, they have very busy people, right? So even if they have the budgets, they don't necessarily have the time to go into those markets and do the research by themselves, or hire the teams to do that. So having a platform that's data-driven, big data with AI, with machine learning, while having, of course, the expertise we have in the team, this is something that's a very good match, and I think we're going to see a lot of traction.
Yeah. The problem with the marketplace is that you have it's called a cold start problem. Like, until you have a critical mass on both ends, you have nothing to sell. But this credibility package can be sold immediately, because companies that are sustainability vendors, they need reviews, and I mean, they need customer testimonials anyway, and it's more credible if it's done by a third party. And they need content, so the CEO interview it's a value from day one. You don't need a critical mass on the platform. And the same way when we do on the other end, we're helping I'm saying I'm the chairman, I'm not doing anything basically, but but we're helping some big brands with the sourcing, and that's done combined with people, but also with our Oliver, his AI team, and we can shrink the scope very fast, and they can't do that in-house.
Now, thanks to the era of AI, I must say, it's a very good time to build something like this, because you can go very quickly to hire numbers of players in this space. But the challenge is always taking it from messy data to making it smart data to getting to those limited number of companies that the buyer actually wants to talk to, because that's what they cannot do on their own.
Right. Cool. We can probably spend few hours, we often do, but we're switching gears. I hope you appreciated Cristian and Qurator. So it's Qurator with a Q and then .com. Qurator is actually good. We were bargaining to get that domain name. We bought it from someone and wanted a fortune. We eventually got it. I wouldn't say cheap, but it was okay. Yeah.
Christopher wanted the .com, so we're like, okay, let's find a good .com name.
Thank you, Cristian.
Thank you for having me.